I'm going to attempt to explain differential lock and how it affects cornering performance in relation to suspension. Your differential settings are largely dependent on how your suspension affects your cornering performance. Start with the rear differential, and starting with driving lock, this is all about power delivery. The more differential lock you have in the rear, the better power delivery you're going to have. Especially in dirt rally when you're sliding anyway, having as much driving lock as possible will propel your car forward with as much force as the differential can allow. If you have a more open driving lock on your differential, all that's going to happen is what they call a one-tire fire, or you're just going to spin up the tire with the least amount of grip. Braking lock, again, this is largely dependent on how your suspension performs. I've set my car up to oversteer more on the brakes with brake bias and fairly soft front spring rate. Having the maximum braking lock keeps my car stable on the brakes while still allowing me to perform well on the brakes while turning. If you're having issues with braking and turning, with understeer issues, I should say, you can reduce braking lock to reduce the understeer in the rear for now. With preload, this affects your car's performance off throttle and also partial throttle. Basically, as it says, when a differential doesn't have any torque or minimal amounts of torque, and so when you're off throttle, you're essentially there's a little bit of torque from slowing down because of the drivetrain drag and whatnot. However, for performance sake, this affects your stability at high speeds, even at full throttle, as well as off throttle. Because at high speeds, you're not really accelerating that hard. You're going basically as fast as you can go. Maybe you're gaining 2 or 3 miles per hour down a long high-speed section. But this affects the rear end stability while off throttle. And again, this is largely dependent on how your suspension is set up. And again, I have my car set up for mostly oversteer, and so I counteract that oversteer to keep the car stable with maximum LSD preload in the rear. Now moving on to the front differential. This car doesn't have a center differential, so I'm not going to explain that. That's a little bit different. The front differential, driving lock. So as it says, it controls the differential lock while on throttle, but this is in the front. And so anytime, if it's a front-wheel drive vehicle or a four-wheel drive vehicle, when you get on throttle, that force is going to increase your radius, essentially. It's not going to cause a yawing moment, not like the rear would when you get on throttle. And so what you do with the front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle is you turn the wheel a little bit more than necessary and use the throttle to pull the front in. And so if you let's say you have a more open driving lock on the front, you may think that it'll allow me to steer more on throttle. That's not actually the case. What will happen is, just like with the rear, with an open or more open differential, you'll just spin up the inside tire, not really affecting your grip very much, not affecting your car's yaw very much. And so if you have a higher front driving lock, you give the steering wheel a little extra turn and throttle to pull the car into the turn. However, having high lock will cause a little bit of understeer on the exits, but you can always just turn the wheel a little bit more in instead of out. Instead of counter steering, you'd be turning in a little bit to keep the car rotating the way you want to. Braking lock is in the front. So how this will again stabilize your car on the brakes. If you're having understeering issues on the brakes because of your suspension, you can lower this. If you're having oversteering issues on the brakes, you may want to raise this. Again, I have my car set up to oversteer more on the brakes due to brake bias and soft front spring rates and anti-roll as well. And so I like to stabilize the car with a braking lock. And front preload, LSD preload, this will stabilize the car again while in partial throttle or no throttle or very high speeds, where you're not accelerating very much. And so you want to find a preload that allows you to have the most control with enough stability. And I've left it at default in this case. I've tried it at maximum, I've tried it at minimum, I've tried it in every varying position I possibly could, above and below this point. And this is what I found works best for my suspension adjustments. And with that explained, I'll just load this in case I made any changes. And do a test run. First I'll show my brake bias and brake strength. I'm using a G29 steering wheel, and this is what I find works for me. And then also my front suspension. The spring rate is very low. The tender spring rate that's for bumps, for hard landings generally. And the anti-roll. This is also very low. Now I'll do a test run. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes. I may still make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm also not that good either. So here we go. Actually, give me a second. I'm gonna put headphones on. Sorry, I didn't have that prepared beforehand. Make sure, so my headphones, maximum volume. All right, now for a test run.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Right 4 long, 60 over bumps. Left 6 and
I'm
right
try to
5
drive
long over crest.
clean
Continues
rather
past
than
junction.
fast.
Into care left 6 past junction. Left 3 through gate to water splash. Left 4. Into left 6 over jump. Into caution left 3 continues over jump. Right 1 long tightens, don't cut. Into acute left, post inside, 60. Caution, keep mid over jump, water splash, left 4 through gate. Crest 150, past junction, left 6 over bump, 100 past lay-by, crest, left 4, into right 6, stay mid over crest, into right 6, 130, care crest, into acute right. Into left 6 continues for 130 over bumps, ditch inside. Left 5 keep
so
in.
Around hairpins
right
with my suspension and differential settings, I generally
crest
just
right
steer
6,
in.
Into turn left 3 tightens to 2 past junction.
And use the front end to pull I use the front differential to pull the front
Into
end
right
through
6,
the
60.
hairpin. Oops.
Crest, jump maybe
Wrong
past
gear.
junction, 170. Care right 6 over jump 60. Right 6 over crest past junction. Into care, left 6 crest bump, right 2 long ditch inside. Crest, right 6, left 6, right 6 over crest, 110 through dip. Caution right 4 long, don't cut, tightens to 3, over crest, immediate turn hairpin left. Right 4 long, into left 5 long, ditch inside. Into caution, turn right 3 tight, immediate turn square left. Into right 6 past junction. Into right 4 over crest, tight, keep in. Left 5, right 5, keep in, left 2. And right 6, into left 6. Into right 3 long. Into turn left 3 half long, crest, jump maybe. Into right 460. Turn right 6. Care left 6 over crest, 80 down, turn square right. Right 6. Into left 4 half long, keep in. Into left 2, keep in. Right 5 long, 100. Right 1, don't cut. Into left 6. Into right 3. Into left 2 long, opens 100. Care logs. Right 5, 80 through dip. Right 3 over crest, 60, keep left over crest. Right 4, don't cut, 60. Left 6, long over crest. Into care, right 4, long, don't cut, logs inside. 60. Right 6, half long, 60 over crest. Caution, keep left over crest, down. Into right 4, long. Into left 1, long. Into right 6. Into left 6, over bumps. Into right 4, continues over crest. Into left 6, 60 past junction. Turn left 1, 40. Turn right 2, don't cut, bad camber. Into left 6. Into caution, right 6. Immediate turn hairpin left. Into left 4, long. Caution, turn square right, don't cut, logs on exit. Right 6, don't cut. Into left 6, 60. Left 3, long, don't cut. Into right 6, 60, over crest. Caution, right 5, into left 3, tight, over crest. Right 6, crest, 130. Right 6, into care, left 6, keep mid, over jump. Into right 4, long. Into caution, left 6 long, over crest jump, right 5, and right 5 long, into left 6 long, over crest, into right 6 half long, through gate, crest, and left 5 long, into right 4, 40 gate, right 6, 40,
Almost clipped that a little too hard.
left 6, into right 3 long, 40,
I'm gonna slow it
right
down a little
5
bit.
continues for 80 over crests, tightens to
Getting
3,
over my head.
into left 5 over crest, continues, and tightens to 4, keep right over jump, maybe, left 6, right 6, keep left over jump, maybe, right 5 long, into caution, left 6 big jump, right 4, left 6 40 bump, right 3 long past junction, into left 6 crest jump, right 5 long 60, left 4 long keep in, into caution keep right over jump, left 6, and right 2 long, into left 3 long, into right 6 long, into right 3, left 6, right 4 crest, left 4 long, keep in 100, left 4 long, into right 1, long 60, turn hairpin right, into left 2 times to 1, over crest, 60 to finish.
All right, that was the test run. Not bad. Could be faster. Again, I wasn't, you know, flat out everywhere. I was just keeping the car stable. Yeah, and that's it. Hopefully that helped